Dzisiaj porozmawiamy o tym fenomenalnym debiucie w Formule 1, czyli o Franco Colapinto. Ale co ja tam wiem o Argentynie? Lepiej, jeżeli połączymy się bezpośrednio z krajem Franco Colapinto i niech rodzimy dziennikarz poopowiada nam o tym, co się dzieje w życiu Franco Colapinto i jak z argentyńskiej perspektywy wygląda cała ta przygoda Franco z Formułą 1. Dzień dobry i zapraszam na wywiad z Federico Faturosem, argentyńskim dziennikarzem z motorsport.com. Thank you for your time, and please tell me, because it's if I know it right, it's 23 years since we have last time Argentinian driver in Formula One. So I believe in Argentina all Argentina is very hyped about Franco.
First of all, hello, hi, welcome. Thank you for having me on your channel. Yes, since Franco was announced back in August 27th, it was like a massive news here in Argentina. It's been 23 years without a driver in Formula One. The last one was Gaston Mazacane. He did the 2000 season with Minardi, and then the first 4 races with Prost. And since then, it was no Argentinian driver in the grid. And you have to think that this is a country with a history in Formula One that goes back to the days of the early days, the 1950s with Juan Manuel Fangio, winning 5 world championships, also Fernando Gonzalez, the first winner for Ferrari in Formula One. So we have a history, and people really love motorsport, not just Formula One, the sport itself, especially Formula One, of course. So when Franco was announced, it was all over the place here in the media. The next day, it was in the cover of every major newspaper. TV was all over it. So it's been a major news since then, because it wasn't just the announcement. After that, every race, everything he's been doing on track, outside the track, it's been a news here in Argentina, really.
It's kind of news like, I don't know, after Argentina won World Cup in football. It's kind of thing.
Not that much yet, because of course winning the World Cup of football in Qatar, that was I can't even explain it. I don't know if probably you've seen some images of it was 5 million people in the streets celebrating that the next day. We are not there yet. I don't know if we will ever be there, but I'm sure that if Franco's career in Formula One evolves and he continues in the following years, I don't know, fighting for podiums or races, and let's hope so, maybe a world championship in the future, I'm sure that the attention will be massive. I always, I've been told in the 1970s, I wasn't born at the time, but I've been told that we had Carlos Reutemann racing back in those days. He was fighting for top positions. He was right there, almost a champion in 1991. And in those days, football is very popular here. But if there was a race of Reutemann of Formula One, perhaps a Sunday in the afternoon, that weekend, the most important football game, Boca River, it was moved from the schedule to leave the place for the race. So I don't know if we will ever reach something like that with Franco, but it happened before, so maybe it could happen again.
But we already saw Argentinians are really motivated about Franco, because there was some action to bring him to Formula 2. Now I see on X Twitter that you are writing about taking Franco to Formula 1 next year. So he's already really popular here.
No, yes, he is, honestly. He is. He started to be very popular among the youngsters, when he started to race in Formula 3, especially. That's where he started to build a real fan base with the youngs. I read about at nightclubs they started to stream his races, because Formula 3, Formula 2 are very early here in Argentina, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. So that's like a statement of what he's been generating around the young people, the young fans. And now that he's in Formula One, it's everybody. It's around him. The people that never hear about Formula One, that never really interested about the sport, are watching the races. I have friends asking me questions that never really got interested to Formula One. So it's pretty fun. I've been working as a motorsport journalist for 15 years, honestly. So I never really experienced having a countryman in Formula One, and it's been really, really exciting to see.
And it's a pretty nice story because Franco is not from rich house. His father wasn't a rich man like Lando Norris or Lance Stroll. So this story is really like maybe not Hollywood film, but you know what I'm talking about.
No, yes, of course. Yes, I mean, of course, he wasn't poor, but he had some money, but not the money to cost a career in motorsport in Europe, which is really expensive, for everybody. And coming from Argentina, even more, it's really hard. So yes, it's a very nice story. The way he was able to go through that. He decided at 14 years old that he wanted to race in Europe, and he stayed there alone without his family, which was really hard. For a 14 years old boy, it's really hard. But that shows how difficult it is, for drivers from South America, from Argentina, to reach that level of Formula One, because it's not that maybe for the Europeans they go race, they can do it good, bad, so, and then they go to their home, their family and friends. And for a driver from Argentina, that's a difficult thing, because you have to stay there alone most of the time. It's really hard, and to go through that really says a lot about Franco's mentality,
Of course, that is the natural step to go to Europe because there are a lot of racing here. But do you have any kind of high-level series which can bring drivers on top level, and after that they can go to Europe and race on the same level as here?
If we have those in Argentina, you mean?
Yes.
We had, honestly, in these days, we don't have a strong single-seater feeder series. We used to. Sadly, it's been like going down in the last few years. In the last few years, we have a very strong motorsport with touring cars, which are very, very popular here, and people go thousands of people to watch the races and are very popular. But we don't have that kind of activity in single seaters, so it's really hard for drivers. They can do karting here, karts, and then there's not a really good level in the country, so they have to jump to Europe, which is really hard, really expensive. And sometimes now, almost every time, it's much more easier to stay here and start to build a career in touring cars.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I read somewhere that Franco's father sold his house to support
yes,
his
it was
career.
like yes. There's a story. James Bowles told that recently. Yes, that explains a lot, of how much there was in risk around Franco at a very young age, and of course about the support of his family. It was 100% and even more. So you can see now these days how happy they are and how much they are enjoying the moment of seeing him in Formula One these days.
Before all these events, which happens in the last months, did Franco was a driver who was seriously connected with racing in F1 in the future? Because I was a commentator of F3 and F2 last season, and Franco, of course, was a very nice driver, but we never connecting him with racing on the highest level. Do you think about that earlier, before all these events from today?
I mean, honestly, I think he was in the bubble just because of being in the Williams young programs. Perhaps not that much with his results in Formula 3 and Formula 2. I mean, let's be honest. This was his first season in Formula 2, so it's not easy. But being right there with his Williams family, he already had tested the car back in November in the Abu Dhabi test, and he did well there. And the Formula 2 season started a bit complicated for him with a couple of mistakes, some issues with the car. The MP Motorsport it's a good team, but it's not a top team in Formula 2. And he really, and I believe his victory in the sprint race in Imola, that was a strong statement from him, showing what he can do. I don't know if I'm sure you will remember his move with Paul around, and that's kind of moves, that's kind of a way of driving. I believe that really surprised James Bowles. He said this himself. It was that. And also the way he coped with FP1 in Silverstone back in July. He was 4/10 from Albon in that Friday in Silverstone in a very complicated track. So I believe he was right there, in the bubble. And of course, Williams had much more information than anybody to see what he would be able to do. And well, I believe he's paid that confidence right now in these 3 races so far.
When we look at the series where Franco was racing, it looks like wherever he's sitting, wherever he's racing, he's just fast. He's just sitting and he's going like this. Do you think his performance is really, really on high level?
Yes, it is. He's shown speed at every series. His first weekend racing in a single seater, it was back in November 2008 in Spanish for Formula 4. It was the final round of that season, and he go there with no experience. He didn't know the car or anything, and he won one of the 4 races that weekend. And the following season, he won the championship with, I believe it was 11 wins in 21 races. 10 pole positions, a lot of podiums. He was really dominant that season in Formula 4 in Spain. And from there, despite he didn't win a championship again, he was right there in Formula Renault Euro Cup. He was starting the championship. He was competitive in the following years. And he even raced in Le Mans with 18 years old. With Nick de Vries, and he did very well in LMP2. They were fighting for the podium, so he's showing speed at very difficult levels before Formula 1. Even he was in Formula 1.
He's also an example of the driver who don't win the championship in F3 and F2, and he's performing much better than the guys who was really high-ending the seasons. He's now better than Logan Sargent in only his 3 races.
Yeah, that's interesting to see. I hear that Checo Perez mentioned this the last weekend. that how interesting it is that the guys that are winning races and championships in Formula 2, perhaps they don't reach for Formula 1, and if they do, maybe they are not that great. It's tricky, I believe it's tricky to jump from F2 to Formula 1. It is a big jump, and perhaps you have it or you don't have it. Franco is really taking this opportunity with both hands and everything else, honestly. Showing that he deserves to at least to be part of the grid. We'll see what happens then in the future if he can continue to be even more competitive or whatever. But he's shown so far that he did more than Logan Sargent in 1 year and a half, more than Nicolas Latifi all the time he was in Williams. I believe Williams can now have 2 competitive drivers since long time. They didn't have that.
Do you have on your mind something like Franco is maybe faster than Alex? Because he's really, really close in only his 3rd race.
Yes, he's been really, really close. That's something that amazed me a bit. I didn't expect that to at least not so fast in the first races, which were, if you let Monza apart, Baku and Singapore are really tricky circuits to drive. And he's been right there at tenths or less from Albon. He's really experienced driver. He's fast driver. He know this car outside out. So that's really surprising me. But I listen to Franco saying that this is him saying, I'm not surprised about that. I know what I can do. So that's a great mindset, to say that, because he's showing that he's not just there to be part of the grid. He wants to compete. He was frustrated last Sunday because he missed the points. And that's, for me, I believe that's a great attitude to have from the one.
And you tell us a bit about it, but Franco seems to be a really nice guy. He is really honest, really charmful, I think. Do you know him?
Yes, I believe that what he shows on TV, on the interviews, or in social media, that's the way he is. I first met him at the end of 2022. There was a press conference here in Argentina. He was here, having meeting with possible sponsors, companies looking for support for 2023 for the Formula 3 season, and he held a press conference. And I was there, early. I was talking to some colleagues, and when Franco arrived, he started to introduce himself, to handshakes with me and other colleagues. Hi, I'm Franco. How are you? Nice to meet you. And I was, yeah, man, of course, we know who you are. We are here for you. But I believe that really shows the way of the character he is, the person he is. Then I was able to interview him when he was announced for part of the Williams Academy. And again, he was very charming, very humble, a very cool guy. What you watch on TV, that's the way he is really.
Very nice, very nice. I'd love to listening all of these interviews because he looks like really cool guy. Just it. And looking into his future, what he need to do this season? His start is very, very good, and I think expectations about his next races are again on really high level. So it's something what maybe can make it more difficult, or these expectations just make it easier in the context of next year?
I mean, what he's done so far, it's been really amazing. I believe that, like I said before, perhaps himself and the team were expecting that at the paddock, the fans. I'm not that sure. And of course, the expectations are high now for the upcoming races. We have Austin, Mexico, and Brazil. There will be a lot of Argentinian fans in Brazil, in Interlagos. They already bought a lot of tickets, of airplanes. They will be like a big support for him there. And what I expect, I believe what we should expect is for him to continue at this level, close to Alex Albon. I believe that if he does that, right there with him, perhaps even faster sometime, fighting for top tens. He already proved he can do that, and I honestly think if he will have time now, to really prepare these 4 upcoming weeks with no races. He would have time to really prepare the next few races. So it will be very interesting to see what he can do, and also in more classic circuits, we can say, not street circuits. It will be very interesting. Of course, some mistakes can arrive because it will happen. It's almost impossible, and perhaps even more for him, because he shows that he's looking for the limit. He's not just going around. He proved that already in qualifying in Monza, also in Baku. This weekend again in Singapore, he was right there with the walls, kissing the walls. So mistakes could happen, could arrive, but I believe he will be just fine, honestly, in these upcoming races.
According to the Blick, I think we are just waiting to the announcement of Valtteri Bottas' extensions of contract. But maybe Sauber is this place where James Walsh will send Franco. Or maybe do you see somewhere else any options for him? What will be his 2025?
Okay, yes, let's see. James Bowles first said in Motorsport, it was where he said that he was very open to having Franco in Sauber, because he wants to see him in the grid next year. It was a bit funny because I prepared that interview, the questions, and I had a question about asking. I wanted him to be asked what would happen if some team approached Williams asking about Franco, and that question wasn't even needed. He started to talk about it before with another subject that he was discussing. So I believe that he really wanted to make a statement that Williams is open to perhaps loan Franco to Sauber. I don't know if that will happen. Perhaps it's a bit too late because I don't know the plans of the team. Valtteri Bottas the last weekend he denied that everything is sorted, which it's like the usual stuff to deny this kind of stuff. But I believe we will see that in the coming weeks for sure. And if he doesn't get that Sauber/Audi seat, let's see what happens. I believe going back to Formula 2, it's not an option because there's everything to lose there for him. I don't think that's an option, honestly. It's interesting because Williams already had a plan, a 25 season with Franco with the TPC test, the test of previous cars. They already had that sorted before he took the sergeant seat. So I believe if he doesn't get a racing seat in Formula 1, he will be doing that thousands of miles, driving the old cars of Williams, perhaps not for sure on circuits that he will not race now in Formula 1. And let's see if he's racing someplace else. Perhaps WEC would be like an option, at least to stay sharp, to stay to race, because in order not to lose that. But we have seen plenty of drivers that have been, aside from one season, Oscar Piastri, now this season with Jack Doohan, he will be racing this year, and he's been not racing this year. So let's see. I believe it's a bit open yet. It will be amazing to have him full time in Formula 1 next year, even though it is on Sauber, which is showing to be like the worst car so far. But let's see what happens.
So what I understand, if he will not race, or even if he will race in F1 next year, he is fighting for the seat with Alex Albon for 2026.
Well, hope so. That would be fantastic. What we know is that both Albon and Sainz have like a long-term contracts, sure, with a lot of clause and stuff. Also, we have to think what could happen on other teams. Perhaps it's finally happened that perhaps Verstappen doesn't complete his contract with Red Bull, or if Checo Perez leave the team. I believe that things could be shake. So, and that could be opportunity for Franco for 2026. Perhaps Albon or Sainz are wanted on a more competitive teams, on top teams, and that opens a door for him. I believe that it could be opportunity for him on 2026 for sure.
All right, so going to the end, how many Argentinians do you expect in Brazil? Do your colleagues are going to, or maybe you are going to?
I'm trying to go to work to cover it for Formule.com, but fans will be like, I don't know, thousands. Honestly, I've been hearing about. I have friends that are going, and I've been listening about people really buying tickets and looking for accommodation and tickets, plane tickets. It's of course the nearest racetrack we have, race we have so far. So people is really hyped with Franco, and they want to watch him live right there in the track. So it will be like a lot of Argentinian flags I expect on those grades in that weekend.
It's pretty the same as in Poland. We are going to Hungarian Grand Prix when Robert was racing, of course, but today it's also a lot of fans here. Federico, thank you very much. I think I've got it all. So I'm keep my fingers crossed for your travel to Brazil and for Franco's, of course.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure, and we can do it anytime, whenever you want. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.